Hello.
Hello, we are.
I am here. I had to work around things, but I'm here.
We're streaming, so whatever you say is on the recording. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Should we take a pause for a second? Okay. Hi, Amy.
Hello.
What we decided. How many do we have?
Hi, Kamel.
Hi, Kamil. We should do a check. Hi. Thank you for joining us.
Looking forward to be here.
I am getting ready to set up. It's 1 minute past the hour. Vida, I hope you're ready as well. We'll do quick introductions and then we'll get started. Hi, Elena.
Hi.
Hello, welcome. I'm gonna quickly check who are all we waiting for. You can do a quick check-in. How are you arriving? Just a one word to start rumbling in, tumbling in, trickling in, whatever the words are. How are you arriving? Word or a sentence will do fine.
Hi, thank you. Warm, very, very warm. That's how I'm doing. What about you, Vida?
Yeah, I think just grounding. Yeah. How are you, Elena?
Happy.
Good.
Amy?
Also hot here, but I'm feeling quite refreshed with my fan. What about you, Joel?
I think I'm orange. I'm orange today and deep orange. So I'm going to stay there. Thank you so much for joining us. We had one more yes, but we will continue into our process. It's a fairly tight schedule we have, but also we have lots of spaciousness. We are here to talk about how to be a community member of a thriving, resilient online space. And there are a couple of conversations that make it equanimous in the sense of, okay, member and also community. Like there are conditions that need to be in place, and we will explore a little bit of that both. I want to start sharing my screen so you know how we are proceeding. Give me 1 second. Start sharing screen, window, how to be community member. Let me know if you all see the screen. Oh, I can see it too. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of our offering, we also give the artifacts, and what you're witnessing is an artifact. Before we get into that, I would want us to have a round of introductions as to, especially we'll start with the CoLab training team, also called Minimum Viable Academy. We are struggling for words today. We are the ones that are bringing you this particular conversation, exploratory conversations. My name is Jo, full name Jyotsna Man, and I am one of the facilitators of the CoLab training program. My incentive to be here is to be able to help us be on those edges of transformation, be on the edges of that exploration as to what makes us thrive, what makes us resilient, especially in a remote collaboration space. So I've always been in this remote collaboration space, and I hope my experience, also ability to help navigate that, will provide a little bit of foundations for us. I want to invite Vida to introduce yourself in a line or two, and then we pass there, because we have a small audience, we'll pass it around.
Thanks, Jo. Thanks for the welcome and holding the space in this topic. Certainly. So my name is Vida, and I've been in the CoLab now almost 3 years. But prior to this, I've also done remote collaboration spaces in for-profits and non-profits. And I also used to hold a lot of the community spaces in GaiaU. So we would create shared community spaces there with the associates, which is what I call our students. And since then, I've been involved in establishing a couple of different online communities. Well, real communities, but operating in a distributed and remote way. Not that we were on the line. But yeah, I think that's good enough for now about why I'm interested in this topic and who I am. And maybe I can pass to Amy next.
Get away with it because I was pouring my water.
Sorry.
That's fine. My name is Amy Fenech. I've been a part of the Minimum Viable Academy since we started. And I'm very happy to be supporting Jo and Vida, who today will be hosting this event.
What is your incentive to be here, Amy?
Well, I'm here as myself. Nicolo, could you mute yourself? Thank you very much. My incentive of being here, I'm a CoLab member since a few years, I think maybe 5 or 6 years. And I'm really excited to see this offering so that we maybe get more people active and excited and participating into the CoLab as they would in a garden. We want people to garden in our ecosystem, and I think this is a good way of introducing that idea and that practice. Let me check. Shall I pass it on?
Yeah, go ahead.
Elena, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, I can. I'm Alena Kempfstein. I'm calling in from Hamburg, which is in northern Germany in Europe. And I have been part of the CoLab already with the Gaia U project on re-evaluation counseling. And I've been studying at the Gaia U, I think it's 5 years ago already. And now I'm building up an online business on cooperation with cooperatives, and very happy to support with at the CoLab, which whatever comes around my way where I can help. Right now it's a translation of the manual into German.
Thank you. Camille?
Thank you. It's pronounced Camille, just in case you want to know. So I'm originally from Switzerland, but I live right now in Catalonia, Spain. And I've joined the CoLab. It's been, I don't know, 6 months now, maybe something like this. I'm working on 2 Emergent Festival projects, one with Vida and Tiquilelo on mapping permaculture business models, and another one on permaculture communication in the Hispanic world, year 3. And I am interested in learning more about how an online community works and how to be part of that and how that translate in today's world and what I can do with it.
Awesome. Thank you. Hi, Muklo, can you come online and introduce yourself and also your incentive to be here in this conversation?
Hi everyone, and greetings again. It's always my name is Ntigelo Kolosa. I'm the Emergent Festival coordinator, along with Alan and Amy, and also the PRE. I'm also in indigenous-led permaculture projects that we do with Vida and the mapping business, the mapping business partner or business permaculture with Vida and also Camille. And also, being here for me, it's not only something that is wasting time, but I enjoy the learning space, and I enjoy how I receive from this place, and I enjoy what the space is doing to me. So for me, learning will be and growing. Every time when I learn, it is what is putting me here and bringing me here. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikhil. Thank you so much for checking in. We will move into the introductory part of this program. It's offered to you by CoLab Training Program. It's one of the 4 sessions of the year, and it's offered by Minimum Viable Academy, as you have seen before. This is our 2nd session. The first one was ethical marketing. If you're interested, please go to the Minimum Viable Academy and download the recording. As a CoLab member, it's free for you. This is also part of the CoLab Next Steps project. And a couple of things I want us to remind ourselves how to be here as we conduct, as we show up for the community is, please unmute yourself when you have an opinion to share. You will be asked to come online and share. Please note that we are taking notes as a crowdsourcing collective conversation. The notes are being collected and they will be distributed in the artifact. And please also use the chat effectively. As you hear something that strikes you as an important one, please make a note in the chat or further the conversation in the chat. Can we all agree how to be here for now for this space? Thumbs up is fine. If you're not on video, emojis are acceptable. Thank you. Thank you. Awesome. I'm going to move us into a quiet reflection time What is that one word or a sentence, break the rule, when you think about community, and a community that you felt was inviting and warm and um, fueled your soul per se? What does a community mean to you in a sentence, online or otherwise? There are there are reactions happening. This is a new environment for me, so I'm like, I'm looking everywhere. Camille says interaction and creativity.
Joe, our intention is to share this in the chat.
In the chat or unmute yourself.
Okay, all right. My word is inclusive.
Thank you. Others? Welcoming, Amy says. Elena, Nicolo. A bonfire, sharing with each other and promoting. I love that. I love that. A sense of community is to be able to invest in each other and see for each other's growth. Thank you, Amy, for that mutual support. Now, for me, a sense of community is that mutual care and support to be able to create opportunities, not just for an individual, for many that are coming, that are here, and also learn from who has been here for a long period of time. I think it's a whole sense of tribe for me. And yeah, thank you for sharing that. Let's step for a second into silence, and I want you to go further deep from just, yeah, this is what you expect or you think of a community, but think of a place or a community, think of a time or a space, go back to it and feel into what was about that community that inspired you. What was there? Who was there? What was happening around you that actually inspired you to stay and contribute or continue to be in association with that community? So, a deeper reflection. Think of a community you felt inspired to contribute, to be part of. And what was inspiring about you? Who was there? What was happening around you? Helena is saying a feeling of safety and inspiration through actions and people. Yeah, it's embodied, it's living, it's very present. What's happening is witnessed. Thank you. You are free to unmute yourself. Please take your time for reflection, but voices will be nice.
Okay,
For
then-
me, oh,
Go ahead, Camille.
for me, it was a sense of being together with a common goal, or like being centered around something.
Yeah, which is very important, right? Like where do we get the alignment from? It's like, oh, we are going, there is a vision, there is a, a direction that we are all going towards. So thank you for bringing that in, Camille. Amy says feeling of belonging, maintaining the commons together. Amy, do you want to throw a little bit of light in that on that? What does belonging mean specifically for you? What does it take for maintaining the commons together?
The commons for me is anything, any resources, energy, or capacity that is has some value or importance to the people who are using it or accessing it or enjoying it. And for me, the feeling of belonging comes from holding that with other people. So And I recognize this happens a lot in the CoLab already, that we have teams of people who hold and maintain the comments together. And this is where I feel the most community.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I think that sense of we are in this together, which Camille was also speaking about, having not just the goal, but holding the container, holding the space in the way that we understand how to be together, not just why are we together, but like how to be together with each other, and what is the outcome of being together as well. Thank you so much. Vida says a genuine interest in me and my growth, a shared interest in a passion topic. Yeah, do you want to talk more about that?
The way I interpreted it was how what at the beginning, what was the initiation, what drew me in from kind of you know, realizing that this exists to actually wanting to engage and enact more. And I think that genuine interest, I mean, that's very personal as well, right? Like when I think about the communities, there's often like one person who's taken a genuine interest in me, and that's interesting. I wouldn't have come up with that on my own, but yeah.
Yeah, you're again speaking to the interdependent relationships that form, not just with who we are, how we are managing this, or how we are working together, or where we are going, or why we are here together, but also the nuances, the unseen threads that are woven as part of the members within the community, that also keeps you bringing back to that community again and again. So thank you for sharing that level of, a viewpoint. Nicolo, would you want to take space and talk more about the connection, understanding, safe space, and support that drew you to that particular community?
Oh yes, sorry for delay. Yes, let me just tell a bit about what I've shared. Connection. Actually, uh, I will talk mainly about the space also in the collab because I've we connect with the team and the community here, and the connection. Maybe also we are getting to understand and also to explore opportunities. Might be even the learning opportunities. So the connection itself, we connect even we haven't met each other, and it's a safe space in understanding that we need to be safe, and all of us we need to be there for each other and support each other. And by doing that, we are connecting with nature and ourselves also. So it becomes a safe space and a safe community because it's full of we share a lot of things. When we work together, we also share the common goal, maybe of finishing a project, and that needs a lot of dedication and understanding within each other, and maybe creating a safe space so that if one meets challenges in the journey, they are able maybe to express in this space. So it is what this space of the collab it is, and what I've also put it in me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nicolo. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think there is different aspects to what you're saying. It's the safety. How do we guard the governance? We call that that's a word in communities and ecosystems that is highly responsible to safeguard the safety of the community and the individuals and what's happening within the community. So thank you so much for highlighting that. For me, the inspiration really comes from to be able to view different lenses, not just from an individual lens, but also what's emerging, but also where we are going at the goal that Camille was talking about. It's to be, I'm a systems thinker, so to be able to have a lens across board is, I feel like community gives me that holistic understanding of, okay, the human element, but also delivering, but also being productive, but also working on goals, but also having something that binds us together. So i i I feel energized when I can have a lens into all of that. um hey, why one thing, right? Get everything in a community. And that's what community is, to be able to nurture whatever the needs of the individual are at a time that they need them. That said, one of the lenses that we would want you to look at is this. I'm going to start sharing my screen. Is this is the famous circle. If you follow Simon Sinek, it's the Y circle, but also there are different elements to anything that we as humans function under. And I like this specifically and wanted to bring this into context for our exploration here. The why, the aims, the mission, the goals, as Camille was talking about, that creates the alignment. And how often have we been in spaces where we didn't know if we belonged, we didn't know if it was for you, and it created a whole sense of confusion. Some places I felt claustrophobic, some places I felt like, why are things happening? And if you do not know the why of the community and of your own existence, then it will throw you off course. Trauma will begin to happen. We create every action that we take, right, for ourselves and for with others. It has a potency to create trauma. And one of the root ways to know that if we are there is to be able to create that alignment. I'm going to take a pause here. Vida, Amy, or anybody, would you want to offer your thoughts on like why the why is important to create alignment?
Yeah, sure. So I think that one piece of context which is helpful for me is the Simon Sinek model of this. He says that every organization knows what it does. He's not speaking about communities necessarily, but businesses often. But they don't necessarily come together on either the how or the why. And so I think that, whereas a lot of communities actually do have a strong purpose, but they don't share it necessarily very well. And then a lot of the other problem that I see is sometimes impact organizations might have a very strong vision. We have this passion for the world, but then we miss a step when we translate into the how, because we don't necessarily have that other ways of relating. And for lack of a better word, say a regenerative organization not having regenerative ways of organizing between the members, because they imagine this big picture thing. So I think that for me is a useful way of looking at this.
Yeah, and I was inspired by this why circle, or the circle of why, I think that's what it's called, from a context of organizations to communities, because communities are self-organizing entities, but very much in so many angles. So that I felt it is important for us to consider this why. Golden circle. Thank you. Amy, any thoughts you have? Elena, Kemal, all are welcome.
I think having a good why gives pretty good foundations, but if you don't know why you're meeting, then the how and the what, they don't have any anchor. So if there's a good anchor, you can figure out the how and the what. But if you don't have that anchor, then you have to reinvent the wheel. You have to sit down, have that conversation, which is not a bad thing, but it needs to come first.
Yeah. It's like not having building the roof before you put on the walls, right? Like and the foundations and things like that. Most often than not, here's a thought-provoking exercise for us to just step into for a second. Nothing needs to be shared. Is just most of not the why that we think is not the why that we engage with. And it's very important for communities to be conversant about it. If you want everybody to thrive, you want everybody to know, to be transparent, to share, and things like that. So just something to add on to what's happening in the room. Elena, on why the why is important?
Yeah, I
Asking
think the why is important, especially for people like us in this community. But as I started my local organization, I realized that a lot of people find it a lot easier to connect through the what and just to do something together. And they sort of start off, or they like to start off using their hands and just trusting there is a good why. And then only after a while, they sort of ask the why question.
Right, that's how we are trained, right? Like not to go deeper. Like you are attracted with the what as you see it's at the edges. You get engagement in the how, and then after a long while you're like, what are they doing? Like you start to question the why. But most often than not, in a community you will know why they exist. That's the difference between an organization and a community, because it's embodied, because it's lived, like every entity in the community. And that's the beauty of the community, in my opinion. That's the beauty of the community, is that close knit and experience that you get. Thank you. We'll take one from either Kemal or Nicola before we move forward. Camille or Nicola, whoever unmutes first. If you wanted to add anything, same or different. Rock, paper, scissors. Doesn't look like nobody's coming on. Hey, yay, Kemal.
Yes. I think there's also a sense of giving purpose to time investment through the why, which like oftentimes there's many reasons why we could meet with a group, have some form of groupment or community, you could say, but to keep it lasting through time, and to be able to give sense to this time, I feel like this why is a big part in that working out or not.
I love that. I love the sense of longevity. How can we be in this together for a longer period of time and get through? It's called the weathering the storms, right? Like the why is going to anchor you. So thank you for bringing that into perspective. And that is what it is, right? Like we go off track and then we come back into balance again, go off track and come back, and that's the whole definition of alignment. Like when you try something changes in the environment, the dynamics are changed, and then you come back. It's like, oh, this is why it has happened, or the why actually informs what you need to do. I want to move us to next. The how defines the engagement, which Vida was talking about, is that inspiration came from the relationships that were formed early on in the community. And that's the engagement piece, is, how is support being provided? What are the processes that actually fuel the individuals? How do we keep it safe and all of that? So that's the engagement. And I want to ask one question for us to consider here is, when it comes to engagement, what matters the most? Do the people matter the most, or how to engage matter the most to you? There is no right or wrong answer here. When it comes to engagement,
For me, it's the people.
the people. And thank you. Anybody thinks otherwise? Process of engaging?
I've been around a while on online community spaces. The how people engage can determine whether you can engage with them or not sometimes. So if, for example, we see disruptive behavior, personal insults being flung around, yes, the people are important, but the way that they're communicating is also important. And if there's some like best practice guidelines for specific platforms, like to not clutter the space with chaos, then that for me is equally important. Like there's a balance to be made between making space and enabling the communication to be effective. And that bit of enabling the communication to be effective is how well you know how to use the tools, how well you know how to remote work with other people, and the scaffolding that's provided, but with each other, to self-correct so that the people remain the most important, because we're all able to communicate as effectively as possible.
Yeah, thank you, Amy. It's not just the entities, it's the threads between the entities that matter too, how the entities show up. Entities, I mean by people or resources that we share, right? Like that's why I wanted to throw us into this dichotomy of like, okay, is this important or is that important? The point is, in a community or in any human-led system, that you have to make space for all of it. It's not just one. I have seen many organizations, many groups fail because they focused on one element, very process centric, very resource rich, but they forgot to focus on people, relationships. Very people centric, didn't do much, as Amy, one of the examples Amy was saying, right? Like the disruptors. You just keep solving the disruptions all the time, and then guess what? Like all your energy is spent in that, right? So the how becomes that defining the engagement, that nuance of how do we show up when we show up, in the way we show up, for what do we show up. I think those questions need to be asked in that how layer. Any thoughts, Vida? Go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's just kind of sparky and bringing up, right? Because I think that it's and I love that you say it's all of it, because it's very chicken and egg for me. But I've seen both. I've seen spaces where the processes are there and the are nice, but there's something happening in a deeper relationship which causes a rotting away of the kind of, like you said, that even though people are saying the right things or using the right process, it's no longer trusted. And I also saw the opposite. I saw places where very beautiful relationships, but because there wasn't enough process in how to deal with the disruptors, the relationships ended up, we are not processes, we are people, we are social beings. So it comes down to the relationships end up being destroyed. But I think I can just see different mechanisms between those two. Whereas when you first asked the question, I was like, what? I don't know. So it was a good, interesting exploration for me.
Yeah, thank you for naming that. So we've covered the autonomy piece, which creates the why, right? Like the why gives me the autonomy, the alignment. It's an individual but also connected why. And then we've also covered this. I'm losing the word now, but we've also covered this nuance of the relationality, the socialization aspect of a community. The third aspect is the what, right? So the mastery, the skills, the way that we show up, what do we do, the upskilling, the investing in individuals, that's the segment of the what. The processes, so if you ever look at this, the purpose stays in the why, the processes stay in the how, and the practices stay in the what. And practices can be learned from each other, right? So again, if I want to learn something and Amy is doing an amazing job at it, right? And then I create an opportunity, or there is an opportunity to collaborate with Amy where there is an exchange per se. Amy may be not receiving anything, but she's giving. And, she may be receiving a practice or a skill from somebody else in the community. And that actually creates synergy in the transformation, organizational transformation. We call it as cross-functional. We learn from each other, and there is a foundational upskilling that happens with everybody in the community understands. I'll give you one example from the indigenous traditions I have learned. what I have heard also, and it happens in my culture as well, when a boy becomes a man, he's been given instructions how to be a man at that age, at that puberty. What are the responsibilities that come with it, that how to treat elders, how to treat women, how to treat children, what is his role now in the community. These are all the I call them the sutras, the philosophical guidelines that are given in a community. Now, why am I telling that particular example in the what determines how we show up, right? With what knowledge we have, with what expertise we have. And that actually creates an attraction principle per se. Like, that's how you attract other people, the projects in the community. Am I making sense? Your roles, responsibilities, skills, and so you use that to create synergy. The dynamics are the mechanics of who you are and how you engage are created. That said, any thoughts before we move into summarizing this aspect?
If it's okay, I'd like to share something because I
Please.
wanted to share in the how and I didn't have the chance.
Come on in. Thank you for making space for yourself.
Thinking about a community that was half on live, half presentially happening that I joined a while back and that I'm not a part of anymore. I joined it because I was inspired by the people, but I left it because of how we were interacting within the community. Which means that in my perspective, like, the how also defines this idea of longevity. Like, if you stay and if it's flexible and if it can adapt and if it can be modulable in a way to fit with how the community is evolving, and not just the people, because we're always in movement, not communities are evolving. And I feel like this is very important in making the community last as well.
Yeah, I love you. I bring you the aspect of time again, and I love that, Camille. The longevity per se, this how, what it rules is what I call seasons. I have sound reactions going on my side.
I'm sorry, I want to send the emoji, but I just sent the sound instead. Sorry, Joe, for interrupting.
That's all right. I'm gonna quickly step into my settings and
There's also, I think, another interesting element which we didn't cover here is the thread between the three. And because we are mostly present in the permaculture, communities in the permaculture movement have a very strong alignment to permaculture ethics, which should speak to all three of these. What should be examined through the permaculture ethics, the how and the why and so on. And also the permaculture principles, because if the how that we have now has served us well, but it's not serving us going forward, then it should be revisited, right? And that's part of the permaculture design process, that there's a feedback loop that feeds back into the system when something isn't working. And the same with the what. Is the what serving the why? Is the how serving the why? Is the how serving the people that are participating? And is the what the people want to do, or is it someone, an individual kind of driver? Yeah, there's interesting overlap with how the ethics, the principles, and permaculture design concepts could inform how we design and hold online community spaces.
Thank you for that. I wanted to just touch a little bit on what Camille was trying to say before I was distracted with the sounds. The aspect that Camille was talking about is that seasons, right? Like, you are dormant in some phases of your life, and the community is also a place where you can rest. You don't have to engage. You can be passive. You can come back again. What happens in organizations, that I'm drawing parallels between organizations and communities, is when you are dormant, you don't get paid, you are not there, you're not hired, right? But the community is a space that you can choose to be active, or you can choose to be dormant or passive, and that is allowed, and that's the thriving conditions. We cannot be go all the time, right? So I love that Camille is bringing the time, the longevity of in sense of the word. The why is a long game. The how is the seasons, like, you know, the phases of the moon, or per se, whatever, the seasons. And the what really are the projects, are like the simple tasks, simple things, very, again, reduced in time. I love that lens. Thank you, Camille. Does that summary kind of summarize what you were saying, Camille?
Yes, I think I really like the way you're putting it with the seasons and the flow of how you're expressing it. That, of course, just like in nature, I mean, nature stays, it doesn't disappear, even if there's a slower period, right? It just works differently during that time, basically.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. Vida, I saw you on mute. Just didn't want to I want to make sure you are coming in. My dyslexia is kicking in today.
Thank you. And yeah, I'm a bit sick, so I'm also holding, but it's very expansive for me. It's less structured than usual. But yeah, I really loved everything with this flow. And for me, it speaks a lot to like mutual aid of like, okay, if you can engage in a certain way, like we accept all of you. And, you know, this for me is community, is we're not just accepting people who think like us. But I also saw something with what Amy was saying with the interlinks, in that it's so interesting that I really believe in like action learning. And I think practically what happens is we refine and rediscover our why through our why. So we actually are doing these experiments, and this is informing the whole scale. So
and the how to.
It's beautiful. And the how to, yeah.
And that's why the importance of this picture, like, I want to just, like, the way that we have designed this whole golden circle, right, which is very different from how Simon Sinek presents it. They're just round, concentrated circles. The why at the center is a spiral, which means the evolutionary why. Sometimes it's concrete, but the why, you have the words for it, but you have not lived it, you have not embodied it, and that's the evolution piece. You are getting into alignment as you are working through it. The how is a firm boundary that you all agree to how to be in a setting, in a community. And the what, the porous, is the many practices, not just as individuals we bring, as collectives. Like, sometimes these collectives are clusters. Clusters have practices too. So that's why you will see those dots, the porous dots, as if the portals of coming into aliveness within a community. Since that was the design behind this picture, I want to summarize the same things. I'm going to give some words for you to consider here. These are definitely words that we think about, and we've put forth for you. And what Amy was talking in the context of permaculture, the mission, vision, aims that are striving, that create that alignment, or also the ethics that bring us together. In addition, that the foundational elements of those are unsaid agreements. The permaculture ethics in a permaculture community are the unsaid agreements that, yes, we abide by it, right? Like, that's the why. I am a permaculture practitioner, a social permaculture practitioner. This community makes sense for me because, first, and then I would have to know what the mission, vision, and aims of that community are and align with it. The next one, I call it the flow dynamics. Again, there is that dance that happens, support, that giving, it's the dance field, that dance floor. Not everybody, even if you look at the picture, right, like this picture, the dance floor, not everybody is on the dance floor, but they are still part of the dance, either as a witness, as a cheerer, as a somebody who claps it, as somebody who is learning the steps or whatever. I know I'm throwing multiple metaphors in here. Understanding that there are rhythms and rituals. This is what Amy was talking about. where we talked about disruptors, we talked about how to engage, right? Yes, I want to engage, but where do I show up? Once a month, to general circle. Like that's a consistent, reliable frequency that I can show up at. And there are functions. We have a communication strategist, we have a financial strategist, we have a financial admin, we have a fundraising specialist, we have an impact and evaluation, I want to say monitor, but yeah, the person. We have the project manager. These functions are essential for it to keep rolling, to be functional. And then the emergence principle, we do not know who shows up when they show up. We do not know what kind of projects we do. Innovation is consistently happening. We do not know all aspects of innovation as they are happening. The skills are being upskilled. Different roles are emerging. Different responsibilities are emerging. And some of these die down as the age of the community goes on and reinvent themselves. But again, the level of change, if you see the level of change that happens, is more at the what, then lessened by the how, and then the why is very, very minimal change. But the change is consistently happening as we go deeper within the layers. Any questions or any thoughts that are coming up as you see more words attached to that image?
I'm getting an image which goes apart from the circle, but more into the one of a tree, which is that the roots are, sort of like giving purpose to this being, and the how is defining the structure, is supporting in a way to create the what, which is like the leaves and the branches and the different projects and things that emerge from that.
Yeah, nature provides so many metaphors for us to learn from and map into, right? Like I love that aspect of totally, a tree is a great metaphor. A forest is a great metaphor as well, if anybody wants to take. I know Amy loves rivers. I don't know how rivers would come into. I mean, I can see the embankment, I can see the flow and all of that, but another metaphor to consider. And not all metaphors need to be fit into what we are trying to say. We just adapt a metaphor to make it easier for us to understand, and then let go of the metaphor because we are embodying it. Other thoughts? Cool. I think we are moving into more exciting elements. I did talk about the dynamics of the flow and the emergence principle, which is the how and the what, though that's the interlude or interchange that happens. Couple of things as we think about this dance between the how and the what, and then informing the why at the deeper conscious levels, is why does a community matter to you? What are you seeking in that community? Now, these are just questions for you to think through, because we are going to give you the next step. Will get a little bit more interesting for you to find out where you are in the way that you think of a community, or you want to be in a community. What makes a community thriving and resilient? Who is there, who is not? We did ask these questions already, but I'm kind of summarizing you. These hold a lot of weight in answering what makes a member to thrive in an online space. And then what happens and how does it happen? So these were the questions we started asking, and that's how we landed here. I want to pause and ask, is there another question that's bubbling that should be considered when we move forward? I'm going to move us. So we ask these questions. These are some of the pillars, I say, emerge. Thank you, Amy, for bringing us back. as we answer these questions, we ourselves also have asked these questions. We categorized what we thought were like 5 important pillars for us to be able to answer, to consider different aspects of our being within the community. There has to be a desire to belong and contribute to the community. It's very essential. That desire emerges from your why. There has to be a clarity of a personal mission. Why are you here? What are you doing? What do you want to do? Again, a why, and a why is important. Alignment of the collective goals. You have to subscribe to what's happening here. Where are we going? All of that. Current practice of mutual support. To be able to, number one, participate in those practices, to have the confidence to practice and to upskill and all of that. And also there is that the confidence in remote collaboration, especially for online space, right? Now, every community, every member has some elements. It's not 100%. Some elements of this, and they bring it. That's why you see there is a multi-level circle, soft circle in the background. If somebody is good at it and somebody is not great at it, but like the confidence in remote collaboration, but a member is coming in, the community should be able to provide the skill training or the environment for that person to feel confident to be in a remote. The desire to belong comes from ability to understand their why and the community's why. The personal mission, what kind of projects you want to do, what kind of principles you adhere to, all of that. Now, as this emerged from when we asked the 4 questions just before we got here, the importance of the community and thriving and who's there and what happens. Is there anything else that you can think of other than these 5 pillars that make the community a thriving stance for its members?
Joe, can you move it down a little because I can't see the full image? Yeah, the other way. Are they?
Oh, in my screen it shows properly, but
okay. Yeah, right.
Yeah, anything else? Any other pillar you think of? If not, and we can keep that. We can go ahead.
Maybe I'm thinking about Maslow's hierarchy of needs here. So assuming all the basic needs are fulfilled, because we need to have the basic needs covered in order to be online. So that's like a given. Maybe the ability to self-actualize, which would be translated in the ability to grow here.
Ability to grow. Okay.
There's something for me about the clarity of the personal mission
that maps the ability
and
to grow.
And the mapping of that to the collective goals. So there's that, I know we say alignment with collective goals, but I think those two are perhaps rightly so, they're on the same side like that.
Yeah. Again, this is the brainchild of what we thought, right? Like, again, you are free to create your pillars, but what we are offering is a way for you to look at community and think as if it's a checklist, right? Do I have the desire? Very high level checklist, right? Do I have the desire to bring it? Is there a personal clarity? Do I understand the collective goals? Are the mutual support practices conducive for my growth or my presence? Do I know how to remotely collaborate? At the same time, community is responsible to create these to happen, right? I want us to go a little bit further down, and this is our offering, our sense of assessment per se. There are some statements here. Just take nice quiet 5 minutes, rank yourself. These are only 5 pillars. Amy's ability to grow, that can be added if you wanted to add for yourself, but these 5 is what we are offering you. 5, 4 categories we are offering you. Please rank yourself, read each sentence and write your numbers against each, and see how you do for yourself. As like, do I have the desire to be in that community? Think of the community, and these will be shared as well. I'm doing this exercise myself as well. Lots of math. Do we have your numbers? Do you want to share? We can allow another minute to finish up all adding up additions. Who's ready to share? The question is, which section had the lowest? And if you're taking it in context of permaculture CoLab, this CoLab, that'll be more, bringing it back home. Which has that? Let's start.
Oh, can you scroll up a bit, because I can't read reflection prompts?
Oh,
the other way. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Highest score? Anybody wants to share?
I scored pretty high in all of them. But then when I got to capacity on readiness, I mean, almost everything I wrote. But in the when I got to the capacity, I'm like, especially the first question, do I have the time and energy to meaningfully engage? Then I thought about, new projects. Absolutely, I cannot take on any more new projects. So I scored myself 0. And then I thought, oh, how silly I am, because I'm looking at the perspective of a new thing. But this isn't a new thing. I'm looking at what I'm already doing. So I really scored myself. But yeah, so that's where I'm at. Sorry, didn't really answer your question, but
no, it's all right, right? Like again, the context matters. Who are you when you are scoring this, and which community are you holding when you are assessing this is important. And like you, Amy, I wouldn't say high. I had the same number across all of it. Like it was like same number across it, and it was between 20 and 25, and I was like, oh, interesting. I did score different things on different numbers, but at the end everything was the same number of all the pillars. I'm like, okay, I must be doing something right here. Room for others. Anybody wants to, like, is this useful? Is this assessment useful just from a get-go when you are engaging in a community? I know Elena is new. Elena, will this assessment help you understand your level of engagement and readiness for the community, suppose say?
I just scored all sectors pretty much the same as well. And I think it's all really a thing of the mind, isn't it? Like reflecting all these different parts and bits. And I just realized, I mean, it's fine for me as I come from like university background and so on. So I like to go into detail and like to go into reflection. But especially when it comes to communities, I rather trust my intuition than approaching a mind like it's through the mind. And I only sort of basically use my mind if it comes to conflicts where I want to understand how to solve them. So,
yeah.
So my approach to communities is like vice versa.
Yeah, you go in and then you figure out. You listen to your intention. You go in, you do your bit, and then you assess.
Yes. Yeah.
I wondered. Yes, I understand that. I also want to give you a thought. Is would you use this in a community that you're already part of, like Amy had done? Would this assessment serve you if you're already part of the community? Anybody can offer that.
I think, yes, I think this assessment, it's good, you know, for even for personal recognition. Ones have to measure their journey, how far, and what works, and maybe what is needed. So this is a nice assessment, especially for the communities that we are into. So you're able to scale yourself, and also, you know, and when it comes to, you know, there's one scale that I did, confidence in engagement. I did I didn't do I didn't do 5 there. Why I didn't do 5 was because of you know, every time we are learning and we are getting to a different space. So I still have an open door for learning and also growing and other roles and expectations in the communities that we are into. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nicola. And thank you for bringing that. Is, you know, we are constantly growing in the community. The point, if there is a point that you need to take from here, all I'm saying is, as you assess yourself, as you see where you are falling short, you have the ability to own that process and improve that. Own that piece and improve that. The thriving comes from owning your like, I love how Camille said, oh, I want to speak something to the how that we passed by, and she made space for herself to speak. And that's an excellent example of owning your own voice, owning your own space. And that my next thought was like, oh, I need to get a one-on-one with Camille. That's how we show up, right? And I'm hoping as you look at this assessment, you look at certain areas and say, oh, am I confident, like how Nicola was saying, am I confident in navigating this role? If not, who can I reach out to? How can I help upskill? Thriving is a self-owned process. I think at the end of it, thriving is you define what thriving is for you and you own it. The community is responsible for creating that space, and also give feedback, which we will get to here in a little bit, the co-creation element of it. I want to there are a few questions that I want you to consider as you are scoring yourself, right? Suppose, say, if you are at the skills, how do I ask for support and offer help in online spaces? Understanding what are the essential skills for collaboration in an online space, how to ask for help, what are some of the thriving. We will share these questions that are much more reflective, as Elena, you were saying, like this is more of a reflective space at this time. And we'll share these questions and answer for yourself, and seek out spaces where you can be successful in finding answers for these. I'm going to do a quick check. Anything anybody wants to share while I'm checking on time and where we are in our process?
Yeah, I also just resonated a lot with what Elena was saying about the intuition. I scored myself like a 2 when it comes to checking on the mission and vision, because generally it's a more intuitive process for me. And as I was thinking into that, I was thinking that we haven't said it explicitly, like we've referenced it, but I'm looking for the spaces that we kind of haven't touched. You have these questions about what are the skills, and I think that I am often practicing the skill of being sort of in a meditative reflection or response, not reaction, like having that skill of knowing what is mine and what is others, and being able to navigate my own triggers and trauma. I don't know where to put that, but I feel like if I must sum up, that reaction responsiveness skill that I'm trying to shape in other communities is something that I would add in here as something really, really essential to be able to thrive.
Yeah, that's definitely a skill, right? The balancing skill of how to be in service and how to give direction. Are they the same? I'm gonna post
and how to be emotionally regulated. So if you're being triggered, you recognize that as a trigger and take a pause before responding, because a lot of our asynchronous communications and remote working is written, and written communication can be very harsh. So someone, you're writing in anger, someone reads it 3 hours later, but it's there then. It's not, you can't take it back. I mean, you can delete the message, but you've said it. And then the relationship may be damaged. So yeah, that's something to keep in mind. The emotional regulation.
Yeah.
The whole range of communication, Amy, in what you're saying, because even interpreting and misinterpreting what's being said is interesting, right? And that brings also the space of neurodiversity and the different languages, accents, and all of these different layers that we have to navigate.
Yeah, and for me, communication is very dependent on relationships also. Like the deeper relationships I have, I am less concerned about my own safety, but concerned more about the relationships. What will affect, right? So again, it's very like these questions, what skills, the self-assessment, it's very individual take. There is no recipe that we are giving you. We are giving you some tools so you can assess, so you can say and you can own the process, and then see if the community supports you in that, or if there are spaces, go seek out spaces and go find people who can you can dance with. in that sense. Some questions that I would want us to bring back from a CoLab perspective, I'm going to post them in the chat here. Right, CoLab is definitely a remote collaborative space. Camille, thank you. Building relationships, 100%. And then, what are your driving conditions to be in a collaborative space? You being one of the members. And as you are answering that, what of CoLab is already here that supports your thriving? We can be here for another 5 to 6 minutes. I'm just now looking at the time. Anything you would want to respond to, any of those questions?
Said before, but to feel like what you are bringing to the table also adds value, so that you feel like you are also bringing something that is making the community more resilient and more thriving. That goes with what we said before, but I feel like that's really important. And like I said, also this capacity to build relationships within the community, to feel like, especially because it's online, we don't have many of our senses that are, I mean, we have like our vision and our ears, but the other senses are sort of, you know, not present to build these relationships. So I feel like we have to be creative and to be able to create some relationships, even though we're not in full capacity of using our senses.
Yeah, totally. Making spaces for that kind of engagement. I think what helps with me to be part of this CoLab, and I think that provides for my resilience, is the long-standing relationships I have, which Camille also talked about. Also a purpose, like I know who I am when I'm in CoLab, how I'm contributing. It's not just the project, but also the creative ways that I show up. It's also like if I've given a problem, then I'm going off and creating a co-creative solution, and that's what I thrive in. I have people I can create with. I have challenges I can take ownership of and create my own way in the CoLab, and that's the richness and the space. I also love that our governance is loosely tied, in a way that it's empowering than restricting. I think those are the features I would say I really love about CoLab.
Yeah, Joe, you touched on so much there. I think that the self-determination is such a huge piece. And something that's kind of coming to me is like this image of a quilt. And I'm thinking, well, yeah, maybe the essential skills for me are for me, but in a community, we obviously can't be everything. And I think something that CoLab allows for, it allows for this beautiful quilt of, skills can support in this, and this comms can support in that. But even in a more nuanced way, like the ways that we fit together, there's a certain level of strength and capacity in the community that means I don't have to be everything. I don't have to be strong for everyone in all ways. I can be myself and not be exhausted.
And I think that's the individual. If I am there for everybody, I become the bottleneck, right? That's a sure shot failure of the CoLab being collaborative and empowering. So thank you for bringing that. Other thoughts? We'll wrap this section up for another 2 minutes. Bless you.
I wanted to add also the remote collaboration skills is something that people have to practice. It's not something that you know. So we assume, I mean, for myself, I assume other people often are as skilled as me in remote collaboration. They are not, especially people who haven't done it before or haven't used the digital tools that we use. So it takes people time. And I think the CoLab affords that time. So people have a whole year of where they can sit on the fence and do observation or just come to meetings or before you start to participate. So there's a lot of that spaciousness and lots of opportunity to start practicing that. And that's what I like about it. I like that there is that. And if you want to go faster, there's also the fast route, right? You can throw yourself at a project and participate. And like, for example, Nitzikalelo is an excellent example of this. So his skills have grown incredibly from when he started in the CoLab to where he is now. So I don't know. It's very exciting to see people step into those skills and grow them.
I also want to point that, Amy, now a cheesy plugin is we have an artifact that actually touches on how to be a remote collaborator, effective remote collaborator. We'll share it alongside with this artifact. The other aspect I wanted to touch in also is CoLab investment of time, not just individuals' time to sit and understand and engage, but also we have videos, how to do certain forms, and if you are stuck anywhere, right, you have a forum where you can ask a question and you will be answered. It's not ignored, right? It's not left aside. It's not that community where there's chatter going on and nobody's paying attention to. So there is that grounding aspect, there is holding aspect to the CoLab, and the investment. Like, we are genuinely interested in upskilling whoever shows up here. We are genuinely invested in bringing the projects. We are genuinely invested in onboarding them properly, so they understand how and where to navigate and things like that. So do not forget that these are the features these are the aspects of CoLab that are provided for you. We've focused on what makes thriving from an perspective. I want to showcase CoLab as an example. There is an environment for you to be thriving and to be resilient, it's time to step up, not set up, my dyslexia, step up your own self in the way that the CoLab is set up. Let's go. That's my funny. One question I want to ask you: what are you moved to act on? Understanding what you understand from your self-assessment, from the why, from the what, from the how, understanding about the CoLab. What is that one thing without external environment that you are willing to take on for your own thriving condition, for your own thrivability, that you are willing to act on?
Oh, okay, we've gone very quiet. Camille, you had such beautiful shares today. Why don't you share with us what you want to take action on? And Joe, maybe you can scroll as well. I think it's stuck on the last two questions.
I think this is it. We do not. Oh, no, that is it. We'll stop sharing.
Thank you, Vida, for sending me the mic. I really, so far what has moved me and keeps to move me is, sorry, the sound, it's funny. I think it's like this, like, especially in the project we're doing, Vida, is this like research. It's very stimulating for my brain. It's really like food in there. And I really feel like this stimulates me. I don't have like better words, for lack of better words. This is really, it has provided a space to get active about things that maybe I wasn't thinking about, but I'm definitely more and more curious about. So it kind of developed my curiosity. And this is something that I enjoy because the more, I mean, I love the idea of just being more and more curious to everything in the world. It creates an openness, which is something that I'm like searching internally on like for personal development. And I also like the idea of being in a space so diverse and being able to connect with people which are so far away. This is the part of online which makes sense to me. Being able to reach out to people from all over with completely different experiences than me, and being able to connect on the same basic, deep things. Yeah.
Love that. Thank you, Camille. I'm gonna bring in Amy and then Vida and then Miklo and then we'll wrap up.
I think for me is two things really. The first is to assess for myself where I'm at, because I'm often in, you mentioned the river. I am in the river, and the river is always flowing for me. There's always things to do, things coming up, and I have to be concentrated, otherwise I fall off the boat into the river. And I think, yeah, some time for reassessment, and also to make room for more diverse voices, more people to get involved. I have been trying this in the last months also, so asking people to step up and step into responsibility which I was holding and that other people can hold perfectly well. That I don't need to do everything, just like Vida said, right? And by so doing, having a healthier boundaries for me in the way that I engage. But my self-actualization is up here. Like I am self-actualized into space like I have never been before in any other workspace or community. So I'm very happy to keep doing that.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you for sharing that. You know, there will be, everywhere we go, there will be somebody who's mastered or who models or who lives, and they also have problems, right? The thriving is not once done and gone. Like the changing situations, things happen in that adaptation. So wherever you are in the community, maybe 20 years old or 20 years in the community, or 6 months within the community, there's always something that we can take on. I hope you are inspired to do that. Vida, what are your takes?
Thanks, Joe. No, I'm just sort of in a space of gratitude. I think it just reaffirms to me that I can think about these things, and I feel quite clever if I'm writing about it or designing around it. But nothing comes close to being in actual community with other people. The way that this conversation opened up my brain, like even having been in the design team and having had these conversations for weeks now, it's completely different the minute you have the power of the collective in the room. Even if it's only three of us and three of the design team, it's still got this generative potential. So I think that's really, really interesting for me. And I'm very, very grateful for Instaclolo and Camille and Elena, who's had to leave. I think it was very nice contributions from them, and it made me think differently about it.
Definitely. I think we all bring in that uniqueness that Camille was talking about, right? Like you have to find a community where you are able to contribute. There's something that the community can still use as a part of you that you are bringing that helps it move forward. Like that gives us purpose, that gives us meaning. So I love that. Nicolo, any thoughts? We have to close quickly.
Thank you so much. One thing, my bucket is full. My bucket is very full. What moved me is I've got more courage actually to stand up and remember why I'm in the projects, and this session has been very grateful. And what I'm taking home and it's learning, it's been equipped and all of that. Every time when I get to the space, especially that is arranged by you guys, FMH, I feel happy because I'm here to learn and unlearn, and that's what I'm taking home. Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, being in conversations is an important piece of privitude. So thank you for showing up. Camille, I see you come on video. So if there is something, go ahead and share the space. I will start closing as you are talking as well. Go ahead.
I just wanted to show my face that I am here because my camera was off, and I thought it's important that you see that I'm actually a real person behind the screen that you get to see. That's it.
Awesome. Thank you. Again, another point of community is made by real people and not just the voices. So please show up with your faces and with your smiles and all of that. Thank you so much for being party to this event, participating to this. We definitely appreciate your feedback. Whatever you have received, however you have received, what stayed with you, what's not essential for you, all of that kind of feedback is welcome. If you find generosity in you and would you like to contribute, we have the donation link as well. And yeah, I am grateful for this opportunity to host. And thank you, Vida, for taking the notes. Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Camille. Thank you, Nicolo. Thank you, Elena, for making this conversation rich. I'll be here for another minute. Please say your byes.
Thanks, Joe. Thank you for holding us and designing and guiding us through. Really appreciate you and everything you bring in the community as well.
Thank you.
And thanks, Nkule. It was nice to see your baby. So cute.
Yeah. Oh yeah, another baby on.
Oh, we have another baby right there. Look.
Yes,
Oh,
this is the saved cat. So he also participated the whole time. He was there. He listened, slept through it like a baby.
Oh, very good. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank